Welcome to the most valuable YouTube video you'll probably ever watch. In this video, I'm going to walk you through step by step on the best business model in the AI space at the moment. And I think it could be one of the best business models overall in the world. I'm going to show you the exact step by step frameworks I built my business, nextcallagent.io. And more importantly, I'm going to give you direct, concrete examples of what you can do based on your story. But you're probably thinking, who is this guy and why should I even listen to him? Well, I'm glad you asked. I go by the name of Sam Remy. At 22 years old, I left my 200K a year finance job. And now at 27, I get to run two of my dream companies. The first being my AI venture studio, nextcallagent.io, which this video is about. But secondly, I run the AI venture launch. It's an elite accelerator for some of the top AI entrepreneurs in the entire world. Not only do I get to run two of my dream companies, I'm a globally recognized thought leader, as well as a speaker where I recently just spoke at Dan Martell's AI Summit and the Global AI Conference in Dubai. I hope that's enough of an intro for you. Let's get straight into it.
And here we are. So this is going to be how to build and scale an AI venture studio in 2026. Um, let's actually just qualify you or disqualify you right off the bat, just because I don't want you to waste your time. So if you're watching this, you probably fall into one of these three categories. So the corporate employee, the guy that or girl that knows their job might be at risk, but they also know their ability. They also know that AI isn't coming; it's already here. And you don't want to look back 2 years or in 2 years' time. I don't want you to wake up and think, wow, you could have had the next AI unicorn. Or, oh wow, you could have ran, one of the best AI companies in the world. Second group, the current agency owner, whether that's an AI agency or any of these groups is possible. You're stuck in that project to project cycle. We like to call it the hamster wheel in the agency space. Revenue is inconsistent. The market is shifting, and likely you need to reposition to at least AI enabled at the very least, but you know what your clients want and what your dream clients want. Third, the entrepreneur or budding entrepreneur. Whether you've been very successful or you're kind of in this group, corporate employee kind of agency, you understand that you have to follow an uncommon path to get an outsized result. And it's not the motivation anymore. You definitely have that. And all three of these groups typically have that. It's for the right vehicle that they can put their energy into. Who this is not for, and if any of this describes you, this is not going to help. So I like to call the overnight millionaire. If you are a broccoli head and brickle, it's not going to help you. If you're just a guy that collects courses and is used to communities and stuff, it's not going to help you. If you're a discount freelancer, whether that's in a third world country or you even do it in a first world country, which is insane, this isn't going to help you. This is for people that are confident in themselves and, more importantly, confident in their services or want to develop that confidence. If you think that racing to the bottom and just outpricing your competition is going to work, you'll have a long way to go. Finally, I like to actually include this right at the start, but today I want it to be different. This is an educational YouTube video. If you think we are making any income claims, revenue guarantees, or any promises of specific results off of a YouTube video, you are out of your mind. More importantly, the frameworks and examples shared are based on real experience. I will say that. So whether that's from nextcallagent.io, which is our AI venture studio, or from the lovely entrepreneurs at AI Venture Launch Accelerator. These are lessons we've learned. And we don't like to say names too much because our clients appreciate the privacy, but maybe down the line. All of the results depend entirely on you, your execution, your market, your effort, and your decisions. So if anyone tells you they can guarantee you a specific amount of money, they're likely lying to you. Anyways, let's get straight into it. The first key lesson is the two rules I want you to remember throughout all this. Rule one of an AI Venture Studio: one dream client, one custom build, license it to the entire industry. The goal is not to serve everyone, especially when you're developed. It's to find the one company that represents your ideal client, build them the solution, over deliver, and then standardize that solution and license it. That's it. That's all we want to do. We want to be in and out. Ideally, we want to exit after licensing it to a bunch of companies in an industry. And then rule number two, if you follow these two rules, you'll probably be successful even without watching this video. But authority it's not a meritocracy, this world. It's not, oh, I have the most technical skills and I'll win, or I have the best team. It's who knows you, what do they know you for? Authority is single-handedly the largest lever you can pull in business. More authority is always a good thing. It's what I've made my businesses on, and I recommend, because it does everything from pricing to ease of sale to attracting the best talent at a cheaper rate. Authority is everything. So that's the two things I try to push on, is these two items. Every section of this playbook will tie back to these two rules. If a decision doesn't serve one of them, it's likely a distraction. So if you're not going towards this or this, you're wasting time or you're in the same place. So let me get into the model. So when I say find one dream client, as I've said before, I mean that. But when I say licensing it out to the entire industry, this is where people typically, lose their mind. They think they have to sell cheap. So you're either going to partner with your original client. You know what? I'm going to walk you through it from step one. So it's not 10, not 5, 1. And you could have three scenarios of three dream clients, and you decide which one's the best, exactly how they work, how much potential it has in the industry. The company that represents exactly who you want to serve. That's ultimately who you want on that end. You want to build one custom AI project. And these custom AI projects, it's not going to be like a line of automations. It's going to be a full system, no matter what. It has to be something with vision or brings a lot. So let's say a company in the pharma space, for example, they have a pharmacy, literally has 100 calls a day. Well, creating a solution for those calls and then the outbound for maybe calls that they didn't, the forms that they didn't fill out, things like that is worth it for them. And they are a big spend. Number three is standardizing what you've built. So you take that custom solution and you turn it into a repeatable system. You document in it, you templatize it, you're ready to deploy it everywhere. So as you're doing this custom build, you are developing the SOPs, you're developing the agent teams you need, you're developing pretty much everything. You're documenting from every call to every action. It needs to be meticulous. Because a lot of people think, oh, I'll just do the project and then I have it saved. No, you need to know what problems you ran into, what problems you might run into in the future with larger companies, and ultimately, how can you create a standardized version of this custom? And the best part, number four, where everyone makes their big money, is licensing it across the entire industry. And you're either going to partner with your original client and expand together, or you might just go out on your own and have them as a technical reference, case study. They might be an advisor. They are your proof, your cosign, and potentially your equity partner. And I don't want people to be like, oh, I don't want to give up equity. You do realize, let's say I worked with and partnered with a dentist. You know who a dentist's best friends are? It's actually other dentists. So they're naturally like a referral network on steroids because not only do they get a fee off of every client, but they have equity. So they're actually incentivized to perform and bring you clients. The basics, and I'd say like the AI agency model was great at a certain point. Now it's completely dead, and I want to break down exactly why. AI agency work just sells hours and project-based work. It competes on price against every other agency. The client leaves when the build is done. Typically, you're just a technician. You're not a partner. You don't do much consulting. It's constant like feast or famine cycles. So I remember when I was running probably one of the earliest AI agencies, and we'd do a 30K month and think, okay, cool, let's get after it. Let's move to Dubai. We need 0% tax. And then we go 2 months without making a dollar. And it's just the cycles are way too random and the projects are way too random. And the worst part was every project started from scratch. That's why I like the AI Venture Studio. You're selling vision, you're selling outcomes, you're selling industry specific solutions. So they trust you because you only make or only cater to that group, or at least that's what you want to make. Also, you compete on positioning and deep expertise. You're not competing on pricing anymore. You're actually competing with probably their highest end vendors or their highest end consultants rather than the tech support. The client stays because they're embedded in your operations and you're embedded in their operations. That's the most important thing. And you're a strategic AI partner. So not only do they want you, but they know it's the future and they want to work with the best, especially if you can frame yourself as that, which is pretty easy. I've done it many times. Um, Recurring revenue from licensing and retainers, obviously some of the best. And you build once and you deploy many times. You don't need to constantly try to reinvent the wheel. You just reform. Next, we have niche selection. I have four that I really like and I recommend to all of our accelerators. So health, financials, legal, and insurance. It's 4.5 trillion market size. 80% of it's still on manual processes, and the average project value from what we've seen is 20 to 50K. Arguably a lot more, but I'm not going to try to boost it up too high. Healthcare. Let's just go through a couple case scenarios. Problem, their no-shows cost a lot of money, especially the ads and the CPM in advertising is very high for healthcare clinics. So simple thing as that would be a voice AI reminder and rescheduling custom software that they are able to use. They're able to get in their dashboard. It's able to connect to their PMS system. And then you're getting revenue recovery, which is almost even better than generating fresh leads because it saves them money and earns. Front desk overwhelmed calls. You're doing an AI receptionist with smart routing that connects back to their PMS. And you have to blended as a software. It can't just be a number they call and hopefully the agent takes notes. Like there needs to be backup routes, there needs to be guardrails, it needs to go fully up. I won't go through all these examples, but sub niches, med spas, dental, physical therapy, urgent care, dermatology is very good, chiropractic, even as you get higher, you might start pitching hospitals. You might start pitching cardiology groups, for all I know. But the higher end the niche, the better. Financial services, same type of processes, but more so on the onboarding side. So AI document processing plus KYC automation paired with a dashboard, paired with callbacks, you can make a full level software. We actually have someone in the accelerator that makes about $12,000 a month off of his brokerage dashboard software. Shout out Mark. Um, just a lot of admin stuff, lead follow up. This can be anything from a custom CRM to more so on the side of a dashboard. And I think so many people are lacking on that right now. Sub niches include wealth management, mortgage brokers, insurance agencies, accounting firms, tax prep, and anything from like financial planning. But ideally, what you want to do is you don't want to just hit singular businesses because the sweet spot of the market is actually that $2 to $10 million business. And typically with those, you might have multiple employees, you might have multiple agents, you might have multiple locations. That's next. We have legal. And what I would say with legal is very simple. Their time is actually measured. So lawyers operate on a very, very strict retainer. The best way to do that or to sell them is typically on direct time savings. Because a lawyer that charges $500 an hour, if you save them 10 hours a week, you are actually saving them 5K. Other businesses, you can't do this, and arguably they'll ignore the math. They'll underrate their rates when you're pitching it, and they'll overrate their rates when they're pitching a client. But lawyers can't do that. So lawyers, we know their rates. So we can easily do an ROI calculation because they're very logical, but we still have to sell them vision, especially the serious lawyers. I'm talking the firms with 20, 30 attorneys. So personal injury is huge for this. Family law, I'd say, is all right. Immigration's very big. Estate planning is quite large, but it's quite slow. Real estate law is because it's very templated and the contracts are there. So I'd say it's very good. And we want small and mid-sized firms for this. The big juggernauts, they like to protect a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of issues with that. Insurance. This can be anywhere from AI quoting and comparison tools. I'd even see like a lot of AI doc extraction and routing, and even like fighting claims. There's a lot of stuff you can do. Um, Customer service too. Sometimes it takes 3-4 hours to get to them. So anything voice AI, automated outreach paired with a dashboard into their CRM, it's tens of sub niches is independent agencies, PNC brokers, life insurance, benefits brokers, claims adjusters is a very big niche. But you might ask, why these four? Sam, I want to do home services. I want to do, med spas. I want to do yet. Shut up. This is why. It's they have high pain, they have high willingness to pay. They're used to seeing invoices for 20, 30, 40, 50K, and they're used to issuing them. So it actually alarms them when you charge because then they know it's experimental. They know you don't have confidence in your pricing. They're also compliance driven. So regulatory pressure means they need actual specific solutions built for their industry. They can't just pick up any tool and put it in. So that's where your moat comes in. So when you create that custom software, you're not just creating it for the value of the client, you're actually creating it for a lot of the compliance. Relationship based. Trust matters. They want to work with someone sharp. They're sharp themselves, but once you're in for the long term. They don't like switching. It's also massive and fragmented. There's hundreds of thousands of businesses in each of these verticals, and one solution can hit a lot of them in a way. And with slight adjustments, you could probably hit the other sub niches. It's a lot simpler. And a lot of them are just behind on technology. They have like the most money, but they're the most behind on technology. Make it make sense, you probably can't. And you don't have to pick one of these four, but if you want to know where the money is and where the real problems are, I'd start at these four. I think you'll find a niche naturally. Next, we have crafting your founder story, which I find is actually more important. And this is actually how I recommend you start your niche. Your story is the reason, not your resume, not your LinkedIn, even though you got to have it in a 4-part framework. So that goes from the before, what were you doing before? What was broken, frustrating, or incomplete? Or, what was the whole point of this? What's the turning point? What specific moment did you realize to start your AI software, your AI company? And then the build. What did you build? And how did you learn it? Is there any growing pains you guys had? What was your first clients? And then now, what does your venture studio do today? Who does it serve? What results do you have? And arguably, you might say, oh, I don't have any results yet. The whole point of the first client is to build results. And a lot of times, like what people in my accelerator do is I actually license out my case studies to them in order to get their first clients, build a bit of trust. I'll even go as far as hopping on the sales call with them. So if you do have any interest in the accelerator, link is down below in the caption. But guys, your story does not need to be dramatic. It just needs to be specific. It can't seem like a big lie. Like you don't need to say, "Oh, I was dead poor on my last dollar." No one cares about that. What they want to see is you're the right guy to sell them the right product and long-term. Where does your story get used though? Your LinkedIn about section and feature content. Your first 30 seconds of every sales call. What do I say? I say, "Yeah, I was an investment banker and I decided to leave and start." Comes off as a pretty sharp guy that can leave a job in investment banking. Cold email openers, lead magnet bios, YouTube channel intro and about page, which you heard me say my story, and then your website homepage. Anywhere you need instant credibility. The reason you kept watching this is because of that intro, likely, or that you've already probably heard of me or seen me on the 4 platforms. Anyways, that's kind of like my final comments on it. I think people arguably ignore this because they think they have a boring story or it just doesn't make sense. And I think that's so preposterous. Um, End of the day, no matter how much AI we use, we are interacting with humans. And at the end of the day, a human has to like you somewhat to do business with you. People think that that's not the case, but we're all developing relationships. And your story is a large part of the relationships you develop, even whatever you have the chance of reframing your story. That's what no one tells you. People think they have to tell it the way. Hell to the no. It never works out like that. If you're going to do that, your story's probably too boring or it's not. People love an underdog, but they also love a guy that's just proven that he's been the best at what he's done. Next. Okay, cool. Now we're on the high ticket offer that sells. How do we build it? How do we reframe? And I think the most important part about whatever offer you do is price it high because it has a reframing value to it. Say a price because they think a client would say yes to it. Like Hermosi's brainwashed the market into thinking this of saying like, hey, the ROI makes sense and give a guarantee and this and that. No, rich founders do and rich businesses don't like that. That's how you market to the poor. That's how you market to the value savvy. What you want to do is your pricing. If you run into the case where someone goes, "Oh my God, that's way too expensive," likely they're not. Likely they're just looking for something or they're super cold. When you charge 3K for something that saves a business, you're you're just telling them it's not valuable. Like, how are you going to get 5x ROI on something and just charge 3K a month for it? And realistically, can you hit that every month? Probably not. If you charge, the client's going to think this guy's a freelancer or some like one-off agency. They're going to treat you like a vendor. They're going to keep making you do work and they're never going to have respect for you. And they're never going to refer you to their 10 to 15K, you start coming off as, you hit the 5 figures, you're a serious service provider. Better clients, still project based and one and done. But when you start getting into the 20K plus setup and the licensing and maybe even rev share, then they're like, okay, cool. This is a guy that's going to come into our business. And it's your job to fulfill. But on a pitch, like even if I heard 20K, I do think, wow. Whereas if someone's like so desperate or they have a young kid pitching them on a closing call and like, oh yeah, we'll do this and that for you, and yeah, you can finance it. You gotta know. And a lot of you watching this, especially this far, and you probably do know what I'm talking about. And when you're charging 20K, you're not just covering your cost or like making a bit of profit. You're forcing the client to take it seriously. I think this is something where like a lot of people think, oh, for a client, I just have to be the best. I have to respond. No, the client also has. The client has to provide feedback when you need it. The client has to run certain parts of the project because it's their business, and ultimately they. The Venture Studio offer stack. So I've seen this run in our accelerator really well. So I just want to share with you. Obviously, I'm not going to go in full detail. A lot of people pay a lot of money to be in it. So I'm just going to give you the basics. And then if you ever do get the chance, come on and join us. The discovery and audit. So you guys do a deep dive into their operations, their tech. And I always recommend bro, and just apply the balance. So let's say you charge 5K, you're going to apply that balance on any projects they do in the future. It's very simple. But at least it gives them the thing of like, okay, cool, this guy's going to commit 2 weeks time, 4 weeks time at 5K, 10K, whatever you do. Depends on the size of the company, right? But at least it shows, hey, we're going to go look into your business. We're going to speak with the decision makers. And then we're going to give you the project solutions that make sense. We're not just going to pitch you whatever. That actually builds a lot more trust. And it shows you understand Discovery and audit's not necessary when a client comes to you and they say, hey, we want this specific thing, or we want this software, we want you to run it. Next is the custom AI build. So the core system that's going to be built for their specific business, that's the project they're paying for. The standardization, and this is how you license across the industry. So being able to take a lot of that code, obviously protecting their data and privacy, but being able to create it into a standard system of like the main features. And then the training and handoff. You're going to be doing the team training, the documentation, the SOPs for that client. But more importantly, this kind of trains the whole thing. Ongoing optimization, just because, listen, you're making a impactful product or an impactful service, software, whatever you want to deem it, depending on what you build. You're going to be doing monthly reviews. You're going to be doing adjustments. You're going to be doing performance tracking. We want these people to know that you're doing your job. And this is going to create your recurring revenue. The licensing and the expansion, this is where. So the pricing architecture I have for setup, custom build with discovery, I probably do it at 20. First few projects, it doesn't really matter. I've even seen guys go as low as 8K. Just depends on how much meat is on the bone. The monthly retainer, this is the ongoing optimization, support, iterations. That's 3 to 5K a month. The licensing fee, typically you're not going to charge your licensing fee to your first client. Either they're going to be a partner in the business, or you're going to give it to them at cost or at some discounted retainer because they took a chance on you. We want to reward. The standardized solution new businesses, it's going to be a per share. Or typically you can do a setup of, let's say, 10K and then 2K a month, 3K a month, 5K. Depends on the service, right? But I don't want to give you specific numbers for next. And then the equity partnership. So co-building with that dream client is negotiated per deal. We typically give our clients 20%. That's like what I like to cap it at. If they're very involved in the process, it could be higher, but I'd start at the 20. And I want you guys to actually know the one sentence offer test. So many people, you ask them, hey, what does your business do? Or what's your offer? And they go, oh, well, we do ABC. They just start listing the features and maybe the mechanism of their offer, but they never mention the outcome. They never mention the ICP. So for example, you can go something like, we launch or launch, similar to Jim launch, AI marketing, AI infrastructure, whatever that may be. Then we license that system. I mean, you don't need to say this line, but this is essentially what you do. So if you were to join my accelerator and I ask you, hey, what's your offer? You need to be able to say, what type of business do you help? What outcome do you get? You help them double their business, let's say. And then you license out that system across the industry. That's fine. So these are a couple examples. I'm not the biggest fan of med spas, but Claude always likes to throw in some. We help automate client intake for personal injury firms. That's state. Perfect. I mean, you're not going to say this to every client probably, but you can say, hey, we're the leaders in client intake for personal injury firms. We have a unique AI software, and this is what we do. But always keep it. This is kind of a side note I had about this whole process, and I would say taking custom jobs while you find your lane. While I have introduced the dream scenario, I think an AI venture studio still encompasses some parts of the AI agency model. And that's it. Let's say in your network or something, they came with a custom job that may not be a dream ICP, may not be a dream client. While you're doing this, it's okay to take them. You don't want to say no to money and no to learning, more importantly, fairly. Don't be giving discounts for custom projects that are going to take you off the road. But if they're paying the price and you have the revenue embedded in and you have the profit embedded in, why not? Because it's revenue and learning. That's what if you can learn and earn at the same time, you're a very lucky man. I will tell you that. And the custom jobs fund your discovery phase for your dream clients. Because a lot of times it's going to take longer. Even if you get paid 30K, you might be in with a client for 6 months before launch. And you're looking at the long term, right? But once you find that niche, the dream client and the repeatable, that's when you stop taking the random work and go all in. Disclaimer. Next, position. And this is probably the most valuable section of this because this is all that matters, right? All the other stuff I gave you is all theoretical. You could use it. It's not like you can just pray for your dream client and false. Acquire them. And I always recommend acquiring them in a somewhat inbound manner, but that's not always the case. So we've done it in an all-bound manner. I'm going to go through it. But as a side note, client acquisition is the only thing we focus on at the AI Venture Launch Accelerator. It's exactly why I made the accelerator, because I realized people were really good technical and some were not. That's why we provide a 120 developer network. But the main problem is being technical doesn't help. Acquiring clients does. And the best ways we found is inbound typically, and then everything else outbound after. So the way the phases work, and this is starting with 0, you first start with LinkedIn allbound. So that's inbound and outbound. Then you're going to do your dream client and first build. Then you're going to start throwing in the cold email and the YouTube partnerships. Essentially, what I've seen work best in all types of offers, but specifically in this. So, phase one, your foundation. You're going to be doing a lot of outbound and inbound together. This alone can make you your first 10 to 30K. I'd even say this can make your first 500K, but we want to be very light with the numbers. First of all, we want to optimize our profile. Let's just take, here's my profile. It's essentially a land. My profile operates as a landing. Tools don't. That's kind of the main part. So, first of all, they know exactly what I do. I scale world-class companies with custom AI. I build custom AI for custom companies for companies that scale. And we do voice agent dashboards, we do custom web apps, we do automations and agentic builds. Awesome. So they can also go through my featured section. They can join my AI accelerator, which you can as well in the description. But also they can work with my AI Venture Studio. Currently, we're not accepting clients anymore. We've had our fulfillment for the rest of this year, actually. I'm very happy with that. But they are going to go through and they're going to see your activity. They're going to see what you're posting about. They're going to see your languaging. So I do a variety. A lot of people like to do just lead magnet. We want to post daily content that attracts your ICP, not just random AI news, not just things that would get Indian guys that want to learn development. That's not worth it. That's not worth your time, and arguably wasted your time. We want to engage strategically too. Always commenting on prospect posts before you DM them. Always sending, showing them support. Like a lot of people aren't supporting each other. I think it's very good. We also want to send 20 to 30 targeted connection requests a day to decision makers. And this isn't just, hey, let's hop on a call. It's, hey, I made a video for you. I'm helping companies in this industry. We thought you'd be a great fit. I made a video. Do you mind if I send it over? Or do you mind if I make you a video? I like saying I already made the video because then usually they go, yeah, send it over. Video audits are like 90% more converting than just a DM message to a call. Because let's say I do the video audit, the guy sees it, he goes, hey, it's not half bad, and I get to see the guy's face, I get to see him speak. Cool, yeah, I'll book in the call with him now. And it pre-warms them and pre-educates. Next. That's always what I say. So comments into DMs, into discovery calls. That's the basic philosophy. And we need to have a setter on your account eventually as well. But I won't go too deep into that. We'll do a full video on LinkedIn very soon. But building lead magnets that qualify and capture, that's very important. That's how I've made a lot of my money inbound. Here's a content strategy that decently works. I would actually put lead magnets probably like 4 times a week. I would do frameworks as once a week, which frameworks can be lead magnets and industry insights can be lead magnets. I'd throw in a personal story once a week, and then I'd also throw in a client result case study once a week. Easy. 7 times a week. Arguably, it doesn't matter how much you post, believe it or not. LinkedIn's one of those weird algorithms that, it rewards you sometimes for not posting a lot, but then sometimes it harms you for it. So phase 2 of this whole client acquisition, it's landing the dream client. So by that point, we want to run LinkedIn consistently for 30 to 45 days. We want discovery calls. We want to close our first project at 20K. We want to over deliver and learn everything about the business model. Then we want to document the entire process. We want to have a case study and a standard for it. And we need to validate, did the ICP respond? Was the fulfillment smooth? Can this be repeated? A lot of times you might have a dream client in a dream industry, but the solution didn't make sense. So you might need to pivot. But view your first project as the foundation. This is what you build, what you standardize. This is the client that you case study. This is the industry you own. Don't scaling channels after validation. I'd set up a cold email infrastructure, which we help at AI Venture Launch. It comes fully in the program. We do 2,000 to 3,000 emails a day across a bunch of rotated domains. You want to do 3 to 5 domains with a light warm up on instantly for 21 days. I'd have a couple of dedicated IPs too. The targeting is going to be built from LinkedIn Apollo, and actually you can build it on instantly now too. They have like triple enriched leads, which is very good. The copy is going to be a simple 5 email sequence: problem, values, breakup. Give them a final chance. Tool is going to be instantly or smart lead or similar, and then a go high level for the CRM. I hate go high level, but I do find it's best. You can also use instantly, which is fine. The goal is to get, once it's actually locked and loaded, is to get, I wouldn't say 3 to 5. I'd say even like 2 a day is really good. But a real trick on this is actually sending an outbound email to a lead and then also sending them a LinkedIn message, because they'll see your name in 2 different places. They won't know why, but it will be familiar. And cold email stacks on LinkedIn. Your content warms the same people getting your emails. They see your name, they see your content, and you get a personalized links for them. YouTube long form content, which is what I'm doing now, but I would recommend just 1 video a week, 1 big VSL video that just answers have. And every video has 1 CPA. Book a call, download a resource, or subscribe to our email. That's it. And we want to repurpose everything. So from a big YouTube video, you want to repurpose it into LinkedIn post, email. Four video types we've seen work really well in the AI Venture Studio model: industry case study, framework, and then behind the scenes, not router. Advertising. When you've really gone to it, when your model's at 50 to 100K a month and you're very confident in it, this is when to start. When you have 5+ deals organically, your booking pages are converting, your funnel actually works, and you don't have to put money in it. That's when you put money in it. So I love Meta ads. YouTube ads, I'm like bullish on. I think they have room for improvement, especially with some of the performance of recent Meta ads. Google ads is very good, especially if you have an SEO optimized page. LinkedIn ads, I'd probably avoid until you get very start helping. Next, plan of action in terms of acquisitions is partnerships and referrals. We want everyone we have a relationship with to naturally become our referrals, but other service providers who might work in that industry or might interact with that industry that don't provide the same service as you, they are great referral partners. White labels, I've seen this work. Well, will I say it's always the best? No, but when it works extremely well. When it doesn't work, it's kind of like a net. You don't lose anything, but you waste a bit of time. Co-selling, joint venture providers. I've seen this a couple times, but it can work with the right. Also, becoming the AI person in communities where your ICP lives. That's a very useful thing. So, like in-person events really help. But I would say partnerships aren't replacement for direct acquisition. Like you have to be the source of your lead generation. You have to own your distribution, right? If you don't and you're relying on someone else, well, second they don't like the model or they get unhappy, you're screwed. And guys, I know this one was very short. We're probably going to have a way more in-depth one, but I just want to give you a 90-day roadmap that you can follow based on this video. And then I'm also going to throw in the AI Venture launch guide as well below in the caption if you want to check that out as well. But let's keep it very simple. Week 1 to 2, it's your foundation. It's your niche. It's your story. It's your LinkedIn being rebuilt. Week 3 to 4 is your offer and content. It's the offer stack finalized at that high ticket price, and then your daily content. 5 to 6 is starting your outreach, whether that's on the LinkedIn side or even just want to do email a little earlier. 7 to 8 is your dream client. That's where you're going to do the first deal at 20K, hopefully at like 50, but depends on the client. You get the build underway. You start the base of the case study with the before situation they have. 9 to 10 is when you really get into cold email being live. 11 to 12 is your YouTube and standardization process. 13 is your scale and license. This is a fucking killer. In the AI Venture Launch Accelerator, we actually give a full 6 months to get the system done, ready for you, and post-launch support. But I've seen a lot of guys do this in like 40 days. So it's 90 days to the full system. It's a 20K first project target, and it's a dream climb by week 8 if you can do this well. But
So, if you made it all the way to the end here, I just wanted to personally thank you for taking the time. If you did find this valuable, feel free to subscribe. And I like to finish off all my videos with my favorite quote. May you never let success get to your head and failure to your heart. And as always, I go by the name of Sam Rami. Hope to see you soon.